Welcome to Cooking for Cancer and Chronic Disease. My name is Angela. This is Eric. We're both registered dietitians at the Hillman Cancer Center. And today we are bringing you a stuffed cabbage soup recipe. But instead of cabbage, we are utilizing our leftover Brussels sprouts that we used in our previous video. So if you haven't checked that out, do so. We are talking about increasing our fruits and vegetables. So our first video is about fruits. Second video is about vegetables, and now we're going to talk about utilizing those leftovers and also some canned goods to make an actual whole meal.
Yeah,
okay.
For sure.
So to kick us off, our first step to this recipe is to brown your meat in a big pot so that we could kind of get the ball rolling here. But we used a very lean ground turkey, so that's a white meat, low in lower in fat, so less calories than your red meats.
Yeah.
We do suggest limiting red meats. So if you can utilize a ground chicken, a ground turkey, maybe even eliminate meat and add a bean, you can certainly do that as well.
Yeah, for sure. We it's just like a leaner meat. You can get like a leaner ground meat if you wanted to do that.
Yes.
But we're just we took a recipe like sometimes we do and just put a little bit of a different spin on it. But again, this is a soup, so if you have stuff in the fridge, we had the roasted Brussels sprouts in the previous video. You could add, just kind of throw that in there to kind of use some stuff up. Again, we're talking about convenience, saving some money if you can, and making a good recipe. Now this is going to include a protein, carbohydrates, good fiber, good fats, and we're adding the onions in now.
Yep.
And just kind of let those cook a little bit. Now, we did talk about fresh and frozen vegetables. Another thing is canned veggies. So with them, the sodium content is usually higher. So if you're watching that, just be mindful of that. Any additives that you might not want. We did just want to use regular diced tomatoes, but for some reason we got diced tomatoes with jalapeno in there. But hey, we're going to add a little spice to the soup. Tomatoes that are canned make great, pasta sauces, even salsas, soups, things like that. We also have this bottle of passata, which is basically just a tomato puree. You can also use V8 in the recipe. You could just use whole tomatoes and cut them or smash them up.
Utilize their juice.
Yeah, put it in a blender. This again is going to cut down on some steps.
Yep. So once we have our onions just cooked down to a point where you can smell them, they're fragrant, you're going to want to add some minced garlic. Now, what Eric was talking about with the tomatoes, the canned tomatoes, I would suggest buying the larger can, the 28-ounce can of petite diced tomatoes. Again, you're getting more servings of your tomatoes. And also, a good thing is you don't have to drain the juice. So you're going to just pop open the can and throw the whole thing in there. So I'm going to show you that now, along with our tomato puree. Oh, there's those jalapenos falling in there.
So we have a spicy stuffed cabbage soup. Okay. I like that. And you can also obviously use like a fresh tomato in this, right? If
Definitely.
Summertime, something like that, or maybe not summer, but maybe more fall.
Yeah. And you have a tomato garden. You have a ton of tomatoes you got to use up. This is a perfect recipe for that.
Yeah.
Just going to quickly show you what it looks like so far. Okay, so then we're going to add our tomato puree, which you want about 3 cups of whatever type of tomato puree you're utilizing. When I make this at home, I had a V8 juice, which we just kind of verified that V8 means that there's 8 different vegetables utilized. So another way to get some servings in there. Now the tomato puree is going to be a little bit thicker than the V8 juice. and V8 juice is higher in sodium. So we're going to definitely need to add salt to taste for this particular recipe, since ours is going to be utilizing lower sodium ingredients. Now, if you, for whatever reason, need to watch your sodium, then this is a better option for you than the V8 juice, actually, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's not that far. I don't know what V8 is off the top of my head, but this is probably a little bit less. But honestly, you're just doing, to taste whatever tastes better for you. If you need to add it in.
Yep. Our next ingredient is going to be either chicken or beef broth. Of course, you can use a vegetable broth, box if you have that available, whatever you have. And that is going to be 3 cups as well. And then the nice thing about soups and stews, you can add, remove, change the consistency. If you want it to be a little bit thicker, do less of the broth.
Yeah.
So that's, I think, the beauty of soups and cooking in general.
Yeah, and the calorie content too. Soups, we often talk to our patients about eating soup because we can make them lower calorie. We can definitely make them higher calorie. Adding some cream into this, adding some kind of oil into it, or whatever if you want to increase the calorie intake, or using a leaner meat if you want to decrease the calorie intake.
Right.
We are going to add some rice to this as well.
That's right.
Because it's a stuffed cabbage soup. So the rice is going to be your carbohydrate source, obviously. You can omit that if you need to.
Yep.
But it's going to give you some more calories, give you good carbs. You can use a brown rice if you want.
Yeah, I was going to say, you could probably utilize any other grain, right?
Yeah.
Bulgur, you mentioned
Quinoa.
brown rice, quinoa. I can't think of anything.
I mean,
else
there's
now.
other like more exotic ones, but I probably wouldn't.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
most people have access to this very easily. Rice.
So this is stuffed cabbage soup, but like we mentioned, we're utilizing our Brussels sprouts because we have them left over and we want to utilize things that we have.
Right.
And Brussels sprouts are just baby cabbages.
Basically. Yeah.
So this texture, or this, I guess, the way we cut and chop these, Eric's going to demonstrate for you while I add it to our pot.
So again, just like when we roasted them in the previous video, just want to cut the bottoms off. Just as the least amount you can. And then with these, kind of cutting them in half. And then we're going to just chop them up just to make them break down in the soup a little faster. The cabbage, also if you have cabbage is definitely going to be more cost effective. But the Brussels sprouts are definitely a good sub. Then I'm going to toss these in.
Oh, sorry.
Want that?
Perfect.
And do you need any more? Now, because the tomato is a little less, do you want any more liquid in there, or you think we're good?
So usually I gauge it once the rice cooks.
Okay.
Because once it starts to swell, it absorbs more of that liquid. So I tend to like mine more soupy. So I usually will add a lot more liquid, whether that's more broth, water, even more of the V8 juice or the tomato puree if you have whatever you prefer.
Yeah.
So the last step, that is like the most simple recipe though. And it requires very limited prep. If you were to use cabbage, using maybe like a half of a head or even the full head if you wanted, and I kind of just roughly chop my cabbage. I kind of like the bigger pieces, but again, to your liking, whatever you like. And then just to add some additional seasoning to it, we're going to put some Italian seasoning in.
And then We could probably,
I
we
didn't
could
put the
probably
salt in yet.
wait on the salt.
Yeah.
We'll do that once it starts to cook down.
Like brown pepper.
And fresh ground pepper, black pepper.
So for time purposes, we're obviously going to let this sit for a good 20 to 30 minutes, let it simmer until either the rice is cooked
Smells good.
or the cabbage or your Brussels are tender. You want to take a look at that? It's pretty. Colorful. To me, it's like talking about getting more vegetables. I like salads. I usually choose salads for a lunch option, but this cold time of year, I want something warm.
Yeah.
So in order to get the same amount of vegetables, packing it into some sort of vegetable-based soup like this, and again, it's very balanced. You're getting your protein, you're getting your carb, you're getting lean, healthy fats.
Yeah.
And then you're getting your vegetables.
Yeah. Yeah, great point. I think with the weather, it's been very cold here. Soup is definitely a welcomed option. Tons of different recipes out there, and this one is, obviously Ange put this together very quickly.
Yes.
That's kind of like our theme that we usually try to do in general, but again, just increasing that vegetable intake, increasing your fruit intake, just to get yourself some more fiber. Most Americans don't get enough fiber in their diet, and hopefully you can utilize this recipe and take a peek at our previous videos and check out how to wash, prep, cook, slice, dice,
Store.
fruits and
Utilize.
vegetables.
Yep. And unfortunately, we won't be able to try this for you, but you can trust me. It's good. You should try it at home. Let us know what you think. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time.